Hello everyone, this is Randa. I'm a feminine leadership coach. I help women hustlers move from exhausted to energized and break free from their emotional chaos and stress so that they could cultivate more ease and flow in their life. And in this video, I want to talk about stress. The biggest problem of our time, the problem that is creating a cascade of other unpleasant issues when it comes to our performance, our relationships, and even in our health. Stress has become so pervasive that we have familiarized ourselves with this unhealthy condition. It's like we don't know what it's like to live without stress. And stress at some point it is helpful because it pushes us to perform. It pushes us to meet deadlines and to overcome challenges. But in today's world, um, we are living in a constant state of being stressed, and it's creating an overload on our bodies. And so our focus and clarity decline, and with it also our creativity. We develop physical ailments, we have negative attitudes, and it is speeding up our aging process, and it even robs us of our vibrant energy. And of course, we all know of strategies that help us cope with the consequences of stress, like eating healthy, meditating, exercise, even socializing. And all of these are great examples of strategies that would help us reduce the effects of stress, but they do not tackle the source of the issue. And that is why we are stuck in this cycle of being stressed and then dealing with it. We go back to being stressed and then coming up with more strategies to deal with it. But I think that for us to deal with the source of stress, we have to be brutally honest with ourselves around the fact that it is not the external factors themselves that are creating the stress inside of us. It is our response to these external factors. I know it is very tempting to blame the traffic jam, to blame the kids, to blame the demanding boss or the nagging client. But it is really all about how we perceive and react to these events. I know that I remember when I used to work at the bank, I was, overwhelmed with stress, and probably at that point, I would never believe anyone telling me, it's all about your reaction to these things. But think of a traffic jam scenario, where tens of people are stuck in the same situation at the same time. And you could find like every one of them would have a different reaction to that. Someone would be making use of this time to call a loved one or to catch up on some reading. Others would feel frustrated and nervous, even worried. So everyone would be reacting differently. And so stress really lies in the emotional response we are creating to the outside stressor. It is really when we internalize the outside stressor and we add to it an emotional charge. This is how we create stress in our lives. And it mostly happens without much interference from on our part, because we have been programmed to act that way. Our nervous system is on this autopilot of giving us this response to the outside stressors. And so it would serve us not to blame ourselves why we are having this reaction to outside stressors. Because, let's talk a little bit of chemistry. Inside our bodies, stress manifests as cortisol. And cortisol is a hormone that prepares our body for the fight or flight response. And so all the functions that are related to regeneration, immunity, and metabolism stop. And even in terms of our mental performance, something called cortical inhibition happens, and that is when our prefrontal cortex, the part inside our brain that is responsible for problem solving and critical thinking, it stops functioning. And that is why when we are stressed, we come up with lousy decisions. But the good news is that we can do something about that. We can reprogram our nervous system so that our response to the outside stressor is more of composure, ease, um, more relaxed, and we could come up with efficient decisions even when we are amidst the distress. So when we learn to address the emotional charge that we have created to the outside stressors, and we learn how to change them, this is how we take control of how much stress can affect us. And it is really not something very difficult or complicated. See, I believe in making everybody's life easy, and that is why in my program I use simple and practical techniques that would reprogram your nervous system, but they're also science-based techniques that would, set you free from your emotional chaos and stress. And it is like an energy management system that reprograms your nervous system, and you can witness the benefits from how you act in your relationships, how well you perform at work, and also in your health and vibrant energy. And because I believe in adopting tools that are relatable to our body, our feminine body and our feminine energy, it is important that the tools we use are tools that our body understands and can respond positively to. That is why these tools that I use are really efficient and really can create impactful results in terms of reprogramming your nervous system and moving your reaction to the stressor from being feeling overwhelmed to being more poised and composed. And so if you want to learn more about my program, let's connect and discuss it even further, and see how my program can serve you. And I would love to hear your feedback or your questions. If you have any question for me regarding this topic of stress or anything else, please feel free to comment either below or DM me, and I would be more than happy to answer your questions. Thank you.